What's up, bitches?
Yeah.
How's everybody doing? We got Corin's back with us. Everybody can relax now.
Back.
Because I, you know this, man. I tell you this all the time. I get shit. People tweeting me, like, probably every week.
Yeah, but it's all like the lames. It's just
No. It's everybody who, like, I mean, it gets fucking tiring. If you listen to Secular Talk, it does get kind of tiring and does get kind of depressing because all I do is bitch. Like, the show is built on me bitching about the world.
Well,
and, like,
there's a lot to bitch about.
That's true. So, like, there's value in it, but then at the same time, sometimes, you know, I mean, I guess that's when people will listen to other podcasts, like, hear other shit. Like, if you want to listen to people chill and talk about whatever, you probably should listen to, like, Joe Rogan or something, but let me actually mute this TV in the background here. I don't know if people can hear it. So, yeah, but for people who don't know, who, like, are new to Secular Talk, for a while, me and Corin did this thing where we just call it Kyle and Corin podcast, and we come on here, we talk about whatever, and I always liked it as like a breath of fresh air, just away from the fucking, because it's tedious. I don't think people get like how much annoying shit goes into making the show. Like, don't get me wrong, I love it, I'm not complaining, and I'd rather do that than anything else on the planet. So, like, I'm fucking lucky, yada yada, all that good stuff. But, like, to do a show, there's hours upon hours of reading and research every day.
And to your credit, I don't do shit for it. Like, you're just like, yo, you trying to do the show? I'm like, yeah, 100%.
Oh,
and
yeah.
You grind.
For this, it's easy because me and you just talk about whatever the fuck we want to talk about, which I like to do.
Oh, you're saying for your regular
For
job.
my regular show, it's hours and hours of reading articles and then, like, fucking getting it in order. And you know what really annoys me is the way that a lot of these old outlets write is it's just so, like, it takes them 3 paragraphs to say what I could say in literally a sentence. Yeah. Like, all I'm doing is trying to get the facts of a story and, like, then structure it and then present it on air. And sometimes it's just, like, so much rhetoric and, like, they're saying shit in an unnecessary way. And then I'm like, okay, it took you all that time to say this. But that's the thing is, like, I feel like a lot of people in our generation are like that. Like, they just want that information real quick.
Yep.
So, like, I got to do all the filtering and then go on air and do the show. And it gets a little tedious with that, with editing and uploading and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But thank God with the studio fundraiser, like, now I hired an editor. Alan is going to be an editor, and then, you know,
that's crazy, by the way.
I know,
like $1 million with that.
It's 17 million. You know, 100,000. But people, I haven't. I think it might be nearing 100,000 now. But that was the goal, and people, man, they
I mean, your fans love you, dude. Because honestly, like what you just said, the amount of time and like passion, like I've always thought about this, like, and you've told me this since day one, like if someone's passionate about something and they just like deadass just do it, you can't not be like, I respect that person. Like, even if it's some bad shit, like if somebody likes like murdering people, like thousands of people, and they just keep getting away with it, but they organize it and they like set it up. I'm gonna be here this day. It's like, I respect him. Like he really likes.
You don't respect murderers. Let's be clear for that, because
not a murderer.
You're gonna get hate tweets like nobody's business.
But like someone who's
no,
just
I get
grinding.
what you're saying. You're making a fucking hyperbole example, but like even if it's some shit, like if you become the fucking best chess player in the world, or even, you know, water it down from that, the best fucking Magic the Gathering player in the world, you're still gonna look at that person and be like, damn, that's what's up. Like, you spent all this time and you focus on it, yada yada. But anyway, there's a long-winded way of me saying I always love doing this, because this is, first of all, I'm not alone doing it, so it's not me talking for an hour and a half, you know, just belting out whatever issue it is, whatever stories it is. So we're just flowing and talking about whatever, and it's a much needed, like, breath of fresh air from doing my show.
I think people like seeing you, you know, because you're in your element Monday through Friday, you know? Like you said, people like seeing you. When we used to do it back with, like, the Skype videos sometimes, like, you just have your, hat on backwards, like people just like seeing you chilling, like being you know.
It's different. I don't realize it, but people have said to me, oh, it's so much different when you're like, you seem so much different when you're doing, like, when I unveiled the studio, and I had the camera and I showed my little office and then I showed the studio, people were like, oh, like, that's a new side of you I didn't see. And I'm thinking, that's the same, like, I'm the same dude on air. But it's just that the subject matter that I'm talking about is so much different that you could just flow and talk about whatever.
And that could also get weird, because I know with, like, Bob Saget, like, he would do, like, what was it?
First of all, it's like the most random reference ever. Bob Saget.
how he would do.
Oh yeah. with his
like,
dirty ass comedy versus his dad at Full House. Yeah,
like to be in Full House,
Yeah.
like the father that everybody was just like, oh, he's clean cut father.
Yeah.
And then do his comedy, and everybody's like,
what the fuck?
Who is this dude?
Who is this?
Like,
yeah. So I just
people
look
see you're
angry.
Still normal though.
Yeah, I look angry on air 24/7. But
angry.
Well, whatever it is, I'm just fucking
Just
ranting about shit. Versus when you see me just like
Letting
starting
your
a
hair
video
down,
where I'm screaming about suck my balls, suck my nuts, whatever the fuck I was saying.
What'd you do on air too?
I do that on air too. That's true. Yeah, so it's really not that much different. But anyway, before me and Corin started this, he saw the vintage Seltzer shirt I had, and he didn't know the story. So I want to tell him the story on air because it's fucking hilarious. So I was doing a segment on like Sean Hannity or something, and in the middle of that segment, I got something in my throat, and I started coughing. Now, sometimes when I edit, like I'll edit some shit like that out, but I was like, I don't care. It's fine. Who cares? It's not a big deal. I'll just take a little sip of seltzer. So like I cough on air, take a little sip of the thing, and I'm like joking around, and I'm like, okay, much better because I got the thing out of my throat. And I said, oh, but don't worry, this isn't an ad for, and then I showed the seltzer, and I was like, vintage seltzer, although it is pretty good, so maybe it is an ad. And I was joking. I said, the guys from Vintage, holla at me. So one of my listeners took that, tweeted it at Vintage Seltzer, and with the timestamp, it said, like, listen to this from like 3 minutes and 30 seconds and on. They watched it, and then the Vintage Seltzer Twitter account tweeted at me, and was like, oh, we'd love to send him something.
Wow.
And then so I was like, this is the best thing that's ever happened to me. So I followed them. They DM'd me. And they're like, hey, man, like, thanks for the shout out. We'd love to send you a care package. I was like, yes, please.
Yeah.
And so they sent me 2 shirts, although one of them is the most disastrous shirt I've ever seen in my life. It's like a Hawaiian shirt that says vintage on it. I threw that shit out. So that I'm not going to wear. But then the one you saw is like just a blue tee.
That looked chilling. Like
no, it's nice.
Yeah,
I'm going to wear it. And he also sent me, this is how you know it was special. They sent me discontinued flavors that they don't make anymore, but they had laying around. They were like, you want some blueberry or you want some pineapple? I was like, yeah, hit me with that blueberry son. There was one other too.
They were like a seltzer drug dealer, like
basically. So anyway, so I did a follow-up segment where like I was joking around. I showed everybody. I was like, let me show you the tweet. Okay, this is what Vintage said. This is what I said. Yada yada. And I was joking. I said I sold out to Big Seltzer. So now every single video, like, boo, sold out to Big Seltzer, boo, boo, boo. And I was like, yeah, you'll never hear a story from me if it turns out there's like a fucking salmonella outbreak.
Would be like Poland Spring Seltzer.
No,
like
there's no Big Seltzer. Like that's the whole joke is like it's such a benign industry that like even if you were to sell out to Big Seltzer, that doesn't mean anything because they're not fucking starting wars in Honduras. They're just a fucking seltzer company.
Like they're sold at diners.
It's nothing. It's just like so. Anyway, apparently now I sold out to Big Seltzer, and which is why I'm literally.
You should try that more often. I mean, what else you like?
Well,
Twix.
No, but the thing that was
throw
awesome.
a Twix on air.
but the thing that was awesome was like it was so organic because none of it was planned. It just kind of unfolded that way. And everybody knows, like I spoke to Will the other day, friend of mine, for everybody listening who doesn't know. He's like, yeah, but that actually is perfect because you actually do drink seltzer more than any other human being on the fucking planet.
You drink a lot of seltzer.
Yeah, and it's like, and there's no downside to it because they're not a shitty company. Yeah. They're not doing shitty shit. They're not doing shitty like things around the world. Shit. They're not shitting their pants and shitting around the world.
How are the discontinued flavors?
They're good, and you know what? They're actually like. They're a little strong. Like they're a little like the blueberry one tastes like almost like blueberry soda.
Oh, okay.
And like the pineapple one almost tastes like pineapple soda, but the pineapple one's not as strong as the blueberry one. I love how I'm saying this, and everybody listening right now is like, now I want the blueberry and I want the fucking pineapple, but they don't exist anymore.
Yeah, that's true. You're the only one
exclusive.
With those. That's sort of gangster that like you have the exclusive ones.
And also the guy from the company, he was like, dude, like you have no idea your audience, like I've gotten like 10 messages. Like, really? I want Vintage Seltzer now. I was like, what the fuck?
Their sales are going to go like crazy now.
No, it's not going to. It's going to be like 10 people. But it's funny how they reached out to them and they were like, man, yeah, I'm going to try this now. That actually worked.
Your fans are what's up, dude.
I know. They're fucking awesome, man. Like, I'm humbled by how awesome they've been throughout everything.
There's like, they do like a cartoon of you, right?
Mm-mm.
That's pretty cool.
Yes, there's Andrew does a guy named Andrew. I retweet it when he makes a cartoon of me. I retweet it. Yeah. No, he's great, man. So shout out to Andrew because he does he does the cartoon of me, and he's done like 2 or 3 episodes so far, and he does them in his free time. He's like, you know what? I just want to do a cartoon because it's funny to me, and he knows I'm going to fucking retweet it, and it's going to get out there, and it shows his skills too. I don't know if he's trying to be an animator or whatever in the future. I don't know his situation right now, but it's fucking good, man.
Yeah.
Like, it's good and it's funny. So he does that, and then you have Leon does the Kyle Out of Context now. All the Kyle Out of Context compilations where it's me like saying like gross shit and shit totally out of context that sounds ridiculous.
He puts those together?
He's the one that puts them together. I did the first maybe, I don't know, 6 or 7 of them. Yeah. But look, truth be told, they're a pain in the ass to make. Mm-hmm. Like typically,
well, you gotta find the clips.
Typically, I have like 1 day off a week, and in that 1 day off, that was when I would do them from time to time. Where I was like, you know what? Okay, let me just throw one of these together because I felt like it.
The films and like be like,
well,
oh,
that's
this
the
is
thing.
Point.
Yeah, you have to watch a bunch of my clips and find like the goofiest parts, and just clip it out. And they're only like 2 or 3 seconds per fucking little thing. Yeah, maybe as much as 8 the max. And then you have to splice it together to get at least like a 3-minute long video. So it takes forever to make one. So, but anyway, he does that all the time. So shout out to Leon too, because he's busting his ass for no reason. He's just like, I like doing it, and I'm just gonna make it, and I'll send it to Kyle. And I try my best. Like I put his Twitter at the bottom and everything at the beginning, so that he gets credit.
Love. Because, yeah, of course.
No, but these guys, like, they don't have to do it, but they want to do it, and it's fucking awesome.
Your fans are like, I read some of the stuff, and it's like, whenever, like, if the microphone's off or something like that, you'll have people like change the output. Like,
speaking of that,
smart fans.
No, I know. Speaking of that, like, that's why, and thank you everybody for correcting me with the studio, because the first day the camera angle was a little crooked and it was too high, and there was a lighting issue. I had a hot forehead, people were saying, because like the lighting was all above me and not in my face. So I've been tweaking it to make it better, but it's all gonna, I'm telling you guys right now, it's just gonna continue to be a learning process because it's difficult, man. Like one of the big issues I found was glare with the lights. Like I got these bright big studio lights now, and if you have it, like if you have them where they should be, the glare in the monitors behind me is too strong. So it's like a fucking sun would be in the middle of it. Oh. So I had to like adjust the angles of everything and put them high and put them low. Yeah. I finally found a place now where it's okay, but I still got to get anti-glare like film for one of the monitors over my shoulder. You know? So there's a bunch of shit. And then another thing I was thinking, some people brought this up. Like some people were saying, well, why don't you take the monitors and make it like like when you do a story, you put the things there. So that's not a bad idea, and a lot of people do that. But I like the logos behind me. And then some people were like, well, you can make that a GIF or GIF or however the fuck you say it and make it like move, which I think that's a perfectly good idea. Yeah. But I like it how I have it now. But if anything changes, if I want to change anything, what I would do is, I think I would get one monitor that's bigger. And put I think the bigger monitor behind me and have the logo on it, and have a smaller monitor like the same right next to me, equal distance from the camera as I am, and have that one with the pictures from the story. So I have one monitor that's bigger that has the logo, another monitor that has a thing from the story I'm talking about. But anyway, it's all a work in progress. Yeah. That's why I'm thinking about all this stuff and always trying to improve it and make it better.
Because then it'd be a little, I don't know. If it was just showing while you were sitting there, it'd be a little weird too, because then you just got to sit there while it's playing like, here. Like it's sort of nice.
You mean my logo moving?
Or putting the pictures or whatever the story you're talking about. Yeah. I sort of think it's okay that it cuts away to like the footage you're showing.
Oh, that would never change. Oh, okay. I'd never do that. But they're saying just have a picture up of
like the story you're talking about.
Yeah, let's say I'm talking about Bill O'Reilly. Just have the monitor or monitors show Bill O'Reilly's face while I'm talking, and then you cut to the video. And
yeah, that could be okay.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm still bouncing ideas around. There's still a bunch of stuff I got to do. I still got to get like a TriCaster, which allows you to have multiple camera angles and switch it around. And I got an editor, but now I'm also like, I want to talk to somebody who is a real expert with like, basically
like TV production
being
stuff?
Like a director, like an online director. Okay. Like there's some people who are like podcast experts who, for them, like for me, I always had to learn everything from scratch, which is why it always took a while to get decent with stuff. Yeah. So, talking to somebody who maybe knows more about how to work the TriCaster, how to direct it in a simple way. You know what I'm saying? Like there's just a bunch of stuff that goes into it. But now, thankfully, because everybody was so gracious with helping out with the studio, I have the funds to do it. Yeah. So,
that's phenomenal.
It's fucking awesome. But anyway, so yeah, that's my story about selling out to Big Seltzer.
I didn't even know Vintage Seltzer was a company. God bless them for just
I didn't. I mean,
still going strong.
I either get them when I go to the store. It's either them or Polar Seltzer or
Is Vintage, is that nationally?
I don't know. I know somebody from Canada wanted it after seeing the clip, and then the Vintage guy was like, "Sorry, we don't. We have no distribution in Canada." But I don't know if it's all 50 states. I don't know what the deal is. So I don't know how big of a company it is.
Yeah, shout out to Vintage.
Yeah,
or just like put like money on air, and maybe you get like banks to sponsor you or something like that.
No, the only
we're
other
just gonna send you money.
You always have to like. The reason why Secular Talk and a lot of new media is like successful and able to say whatever they want is because the money that we make through YouTube, there's a giant buffer there where I don't have to deal with any companies. So that makes it so that like I'm not beholden to those companies. You know what I'm saying? Like so in other words, Google and YouTube have ad teams and sales teams, and they talk to the companies, and then so the companies will buy time, and they buy time in just a genre or a category. They don't buy time for like a specific show.
Yeah.
So since that's the case, it's like multiple layers removed from me making ad money. I don't know who it's coming from. I don't know what it's for. And that makes it so that it basically forces you to not be a sellout dick.
Yeah.
So that's the upside of YouTube and the upside of new media more generally. In terms of like deals I'd actually do, the only deals I'd actually do are ones like, and again, this was totally organic and it happened out of the blue, but like shit like fucking Seltzer.
Like
I actually drink it all the time, and there's no downside. There's no like covering up of anything under any circumstances. If they, so another example of something that I would consider, though it would be, I think, unprecedented for YouTube because I've never seen anybody who does it. But there are things like, for example, professional golfers. I love golf. Of
course.
They get sponsored by that guy's sponsored by Adidas, that guy's sponsored by Puma, and so on and so forth. So, okay, you wear their clothes when you golf, and they're a sponsor of yours, so you make money from you wearing their stuff, and hopefully that boosts sales, so on and so forth. If there was like, I don't know, some business shirt company or whatever it is,
that would be good too.
And they said, hey man, look, all you got to do is wear our stuff and that's it. Yeah. And then, we send you money for that. That's the kind of deals I would make because look, everybody knows, man, I've spoken about it on air before. I am a capitalist. I believe in social democracy. The same thing that Bernie does, where it's like a mix of socialism and capitalism. So like I'm not against private business. I mean, what we do is technically a private business. So it's stuff like that I do, but I would never do anything that would compromise the show in the sense that it would prevent me from talking about certain things, and I have donors I have to worry about. The only the people fucking run the show. Yeah. I mean, look at how we raise the funds for the studio.
Yeah.
So and now everybody knows the only people I'm fucking beholden to are you guys. Yep. I said I want to do a Bernie style $27 at a time, and fucking people came through. Yeah. I didn't see the exact numbers, but I think somebody tweeted at me that we did it like $17 at a time. I think the average contribution was, which is fucking awesome. Yeah. No, that's awesome. That means
more people.
I know. So anyway,
well, it's just like anything in life. If you like something, you're gonna tell somebody about that. Like, hey, I drive a Honda. Like when you go buy a car, check out Honda. Like, so you're just doing what you like. Hey, I like this type of shirt. Wear it. Yeah. The Minnesota Twins did that. So if anybody from Minnesota knows the company, they're like, when they came up to bat, I know it was like a weird picture of them on the Jumbotron in like button-up shirts. I was like, that's like weird.
And the company paid them to wear those shirts.
Just gave them the shirts to wear on the Jumbotron, and that's how they promoted themselves.
So it's been forever since we spoke, and there were a bunch of things that I thought about in that time.
Like Donald Trump being president?
Well, I don't want to get into that. It's a long conversation, but yeah, that is fucking crazy. I'm talking about more like smaller things in life that I started thinking about. So one thing that occurred to me is like, what's the proper etiquette for shampoo? So in other words, like as a dude buying shampoo, is it acceptable to get like a more girly smell to it? Because the shampoo and conditioner I'm using right now, it's like coconut. It's fine. Yeah. That one's not the one I'm concerned about. It's a totally like gender neutral, somewhat masculine scent, whatever. Yeah. But I was looking the other day because I need some more, and I was like, not for nothing, but I kind of would like it if my hair smelled like strawberries. And then I was like, hold on now. As a straight dude, is that acceptable? Or is that like, Like, I already know you're opening up the door to, if your boys see that, they're just gonna laugh at you and be like, ah ha ha, like you got the fucking, like a pink bottle or some shit. But is the proper response to that like, hey, fuck off, it actually smells good?
I think it's the double down approach. Like,
you think it's the double down?
I think every guy, even like, so I was just thinking in my head, like, there's two types of guys, I guess, when it comes to not necessarily shampoos, but just two types of guys in general. Like, the rugged, like, whatever, like, oh, just get me whatever, babe. Like, and she just grabs, like, something.
Right.
But, like, he'll put it in his hair and like that shit.
Right.
Whereas there's another guy, like, maybe me and you, who go out there and be like, I want my hair to smell, like, nice, you know?
Yeah.
But every single guy wants it to smell like something they enjoy. Like, so the rugged guy is still going to like some, like, strawberry and cream, something type of hair thing.
And the other thing is there a line, like, okay, so the body wash I use smells massively masculine.
Yeah.
It's like a fucking high endurance athlete, blah, 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 blah. It's one of those.
24 endurance, like, do whatever you can in this
48
day.
hours straight of shoveling pig shit on a farm in a bottle that counteracts that, whatever. Like, it's that kind of shit. So that smells masculine. And then, like, again, at least the shampoo right now is the coconut one, and that's masculine.
You think
but the
shampoo's
conditioner,
a different category?
No, what I'm saying is, so I don't know how I would feel if I had all the way down the line, like, female-ish smells, like female body wash, female conditioner, female
tampons,
shampoo, tampons, loofah, or as Bill O'Reilly would say, falafel. Like, if it's all feminine, then I'd start to go, oh, nah, come on, that's a little too much. That's overboard. But if you have, like, one thing that's like, strawberry conditioner, like, for the last thing you put in your hair and then you smell when it gets out, I think I'm leaning towards, fuck it, that's the way to go. Like, you can go with...
I think it's acceptable to have... Like, I don't think you'd get clowned too much.
So, but isn't it like... So with and we've spoken about this before, and I still stand by this to this day. Is it like with the fruity tropical drinks? You know how, like, guys get clowned on for that?
I think that's different because you're in a social, like, you know, environment. So
you think that's worse?
Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because when you go out to a bar or something like that, other people are judging you. When you're in your house and shampooing your hair, they're not as judgmental.
For me, the double down on the drink is the no-brainer. Because
it tastes good.
Because it tastes fucking awesome.
Yeah.
But for the smell one in your hair, because it's like...
But I guess...
I don't know, there's so many... Like, those tropical drinks are, like, obviously superior tasting to so many other... Like, if you're drinking straight up fucking...
Vodka.
Jim Beam, granddad's ass, like the thing you had to drink on your birthday, whatever it was called. Like, if you're... Like, that's just obviously so much better tasting. So that's a double down that, like, you're going to win that argument 10 out of 10 times.
Yeah.
So, like, why are you drinking that? Why don't you drink rum from... fucking hell, like, and
this
they're
is from 1947,
they're drinking it and they're coughing and they're like, oh, they're fucking gonna throw up later in the night. Nobody enjoys that shit. Like, it's an acquired taste, so somebody might power through it for fucking 3 months and then like it.
Yeah.
But nobody drinks it when they first sip and they're like, this is delicious. No, you don't. Stop lying.
Yes.
So the double down on that is easy to me. For the hair one, I don't know, because there are also so many masculine smelling or non-smelling shampoos and conditioners that are okay, like that'll do the job.
I think they all have a scent to it, though. Like, the only ones I can think of is like a herbal essence, not herbal essence, the Head and Shoulders, which might not have a smell to it, you know?
Yeah, like, but some
like
of them are like almost like neutral smell. Like, you don't go that's feminine, you don't go that's masculine. It's just kind of whatever, like ocean breeze or some weird shit, you know, like that, as opposed to like fucking berries, which is what I'm talking about for the shampoo. I think I'm leaning towards fuck off. I'm gonna fucking use the conditioner that smells like strawberries and double down on that. And then, but like, okay, but I get that if you want to clown me a little bit for it, I got it. Like, I get it. Like, I'm using some shit that's made for like a fucking 16-year-old girl.
Yeah,
you know. But then, like, what's funny is, so that you can clown somebody on that, but you can't clown somebody. If somebody was using baby shampoo when they're an adult, you'd be like, that, whatever. Like, because the baby shampoo, you know what I'm talking about?
Well, you can't
classic,
get it in your
like,
eyes
yellow
or something
baby
like that?
shampoo.
You think
I don't
that's
even
okay
know.
for adult? Like,
I do. Like, I feel like a guy would get less shit for using baby shampoo.
No,
the bottle that says baby shampoo. You think the opposite?
Yeah, I think if I went into your like crib and I saw in the shower like just baby shampoo, I'd be like, that's a little weird.
You might think like pedophile, like what's going on?
Like,
Why you got baby shampoo?
I don't know where my head would go.
Why is there a rubber duck in the tub?
Yeah, like.
Why do you have a sign on the wall that says "I fuck kids"?
I'd be a little like, I would have preferred seeing some strawberry and cream shampoo over like baby shampoo, because people can ask more questions when you're buying baby shampoo. Like, oh, you got a daughter? Like, Nah. Oh, you got a little son? Like, nah. This for me. They're like, okay.
For hand
hand
soap,
soap?
I'm giving a total pass. You can get whatever fucking
Whatever
thing
you
you
want.
want. Whatever
Yeah.
you want. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a guarantee.
And deodorant too. Like, I'll put it out there. I use women's deodorant because
Is there a difference really between the women and the men's? Other than, obviously this one smells like lavender fucking
I think
heaven.
deodorant is deodorant. Like, you want your armpits to smell good, so you're gonna just be like, whatever, I don't care. Just put something on my armpits that smells good.
What's the deal with so I'm not going to front, and I know this makes me and we've spoken about this on the show before. I'm still a man child, so I still have fucking Axe body spray that I use and shit. But
you used to be the king of just like, yo, I'd be like, yo, you smell like Axe.
I'm such a fucking child. It's so sad. But
so you pick up your manhood back on the Axe to reaccount for the
but it's not manhood. It's like fucking horny teenagerhood. Like, that's what that is. Like, Axe is like I'm trying to get blown. And
but
I'm
that's
in
still
fucking high
deep
school.
down, just like gangster manhood, just like, oh, I don't care. Just like, shh.
To an extent, yeah. But what's the etiquette for that? Because it says deodorant body spray, but if you just put that under your arms, that ain't fucking deodorant. You're just spraying fucking cheap ass cologne under your armpits. That's what it is. It's like cheap ass cologne. Oh, that shit'll probably kill me.
Yeah.
I still fucking use it. It's the saddest thing ever.
No, but you can use, I guess it's like a substitute, like an okay substitute. Like, if you don't have a toothbrush, you're allowed to use your finger.
Yeah, that's true. But
that's if you don't have deodorant, use Axe.
What's the max on that though? Like, if you go over a week with the finger, it's probably like,
that's
okay,
what be like.
get
go
your
buy
life
a toothbrush.
together. What do you do?
It's tough too to brush your teeth with your finger.
It is. I think I've only tried it once or twice in my life.
Yeah, and it's just weird.
Yeah, it is a little weird
because it's not a toothbrush.
So, I was watching the other day. Did you ever see the movie? I don't know if it's called Everest. I think it's called Everest. About them climbing Mount Everest. And
no.
And then I started researching it. I was like, oh, that's interesting. I forgot that that's some shit people do. Mm-hmm. And so I was looking it up. And basically the articles were like, yeah, people die all the time doing it.
Yeah.
And they say that some of them, people die so far up the mountain that you can't really do an effort to get them and bring them back. Or if you do, it's super high risk. So they don't even, you'll go up there and on the trail, you'll see dead bodies.
I think I saw that 60 Minutes or something did a special on that once. There's some little village right outside of Everest that has to go up to the top and get whatever essentials they need for the community or something.
I want to call them I was reading articles and their name came up. I think it was the Sherippas or something, but I might
it's
be
the
confusing
most
that with Steve
dangerous job
Sherippa
or something. Yes, Steve Sherippa.
the Sopranos guy is taking the helicopter up.
That's
hey, let me help you over here.
Furthest guy that would ever come close to Everest.
Or Sherpas or some shit like that.
Hey, you guys got shrimp up here? Shrimp calamari?
It's hard to breathe up here. I don't know if I'm going to make it down. I got the meatball palm in my back pocket.
Climbing that mountain would be insane, but these people do it as a job, and they were interviewing the wives, and they were like, "Yeah, my husband died climbing up the thing, and nobody cares."
But here's the thing that I was thinking as I was reading it. I don't get it. I don't get that mindset of that's the thing. It? So I would get it more if you're the first person to do it and you want to do it just to show everybody I fucking did it.
Conquered it.
It was me. I did it. Yeah. I was the one who did it. Mm-hmm. I get the first person a little bit. I still don't totally get it because it's not some shit I would do, but I can see how somebody else might want to do that. But for everybody after it.
You don't think they should be doing it?
No, they could do whatever the fuck they want. I'm fine with them doing it, but I think it's a little douchey. I think if you're at work and you're having a conversation with somebody in the office, anybody who would bring up I climbed Mount Everest, it's just
cool.
That's it. That's the end of the conversation. Yeah. I'd be wow, I bet it was really cold and really hard. And but why'd you do it? And why are you volunteering this information? Because it's an obvious thing to I'm better than you and it's just an adrenaline junkie thing, I guess. But I guess that's my point is and this is just from my perspective, so I know it's super narrow-minded, but I don't get the whole adrenaline junkie thing. I don't get why that's the thing that makes some people go, no, that's what I want to do. I want to try to do some shit that's really hard. But if you're not the first one to do it and you're the 823rd one to do it, nobody gives a fuck.
Yeah.
Nobody cares. There's a chance you're going to fucking die, but if you succeed in what you're doing, nobody really gives a fuck.
Yeah. I guess. I don't know. It's hard for me to say because I've never had something really OD that I was I need to jump out of a plane to for me that's what's that? Where you jump out of a plane?
Parachuting?
Skydiving.
Yeah.
to me, like when you go skydiving now, it's like, okay, a billion other people done it.
Right.
And like, to the last person who just went skydiving, who probably just jumped out of a plane right now, they got their thrill. But like for me, I'm like, okay, that doesn't do it. But I've never done anything that's like gotten me that rush. So like maybe when that guy climbs Everest, even if he doesn't tell anybody, he's still just like, that was his rush.
I see that, but I guess I don't know. I guess the way I'm wired, I think of it more big picture. Mm-hmm. Like I get it that at a subjective level, he might be like, that was the fucking most awesome thing ever.
Yeah.
But objectively, you just risked your life and nobody gives a fuck. Like, even if you succeed, nobody gives a fuck. And then if you don't succeed, you just died on Everest. Like, if you die skydiving, like, you're that motherfucker.
Yeah.
Like, people be talking years later
That's true.
from
if you
high
die
school.
on Everest, you're just, like, left on the top of the mountain.
Yeah,
like,
and people be talking.
People walk by.
Like, if you talk to somebody from high school, years later, and they're like, oh, what, like, Ted, how's Ted doing? Ted died fucking skydiving. You'd be like, oh, what a douche.
You think they should do some more, like, obscure shit? Like, if they died, it'd be cooler than just, like, hey, try to climb Everest.
I guess, honestly, this is going to sound so fucked up, but I would, like, you can get that rush by not doing those things. Like, you could, like, if they're an adrenaline junkie, maybe it's comparable, maybe it's not, because I'm not an adrenaline junkie, so I don't know. But all that says to me is you like that upper buzzed feeling.
Yeah.
Like that feeling of like, yes, I'm fucking focused, I'm ready to go. Mm-hmm. I mean, cocaine, look into it. I mean, like, I don't know. Like,
well, people do crazy stuff all the time, and like, I see videos of people doing shit, and I hear stories. Like, there was a comedian I watched, and he was like, "Yeah, I fought a bear." It's just like why?
Are you serious? Somebody said that?
Yeah, it was like on some Showtime guy.
You remember? This is random. But you remember the Grizzly Man documentary or movie? Did you see that?
No.
It was super weird. It was like, you might like it. It was like this dude who, he was like, he's really weird. Like, you could tell he had some psychological issues. And what he would do is he would go to, I think it was Alaska, and he would like record the bears and almost do like a nature documentary type thing. But as far as I remember, he was breaking so many rules. Like, when you talk to actual experts, they're like, he shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do that, he shouldn't do that. And he would go back there every year, and you could tell, like, he would almost do like a real world style, like, confessional thing all the time where he'd talk, and sometimes he'd like start crying and shit and talk about people don't understand me, but the bears understand me. Anyway, long story short, he got eaten by bears.
That's like, so I don't feel bad for that guy. Like, people go swimming with sharks, and they like the tank opens up and a shark comes in and like eats your whole family.
But see, that's the thing is like, and this is the point I was trying to make earlier, but I think you might be making better right now, is the upsides aren't great, and the downside is you just got eaten by sharks, or you just got eaten by a bear, or you just died jumping out of a fucking plane, or you just died on Mount Everest.
Yeah.
And the upside, if you succeeded, still nobody gives a fuck. Like, you climb Mount Everest, okay, congratulations, you're one of 10,916 people who did it.
Yeah.
You jump out of a plane, this fucking happens. People, they're businesses that take people up there. But again, maybe we're just being dicks because we don't have the...
Yeah,
we just don't have the adrenaline junkie thing. Like, me and you were more like the kinds of people who would want to fucking just chill and
like, I get excited if I hit a game-winning 3 when we play ball, like in the park.
Yeah.
Like when we played at 12 and I hit like the final shot, like, to me, I get a huge rush on that.
Yeah. The competition, I get the competition thing is something I have too, so I get that. I think it's like a primal, primitive urge to, like, I want to be number one and I'm going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
The climbing Everest thing, I don't, like, you're not number one, you're just one of thousands of people who did it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I guess it's a little different, but again, there's no denying that climbing Everest is harder than us hitting a 3 to win a game.
That Everest guy probably can't play basketball.
That's true. That guy will never fucking... Well, he's dead now, so it doesn't... so he's not going to do shit anymore.
We just made up a hypothetical guy climbing Everest who died, and he also potentially could have gone skydiving and swam with sharks, but doesn't know how to play basketball.
No, we're definitely... You and I are definitely being flippant and dicks about this.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, it's hard for me to tap into the mind of the adrenaline junkie because
I'd be a little fascinated.
I don't have it.
Like, I don't know, if someone came into my job and was like, I was like, hey, Bill, what'd you do this weekend? He was like, I climbed Mount Everest. I'd be like, I'd probably be like, holy shit. Like, how was it? Like, I'd be blown away a little bit. But I'd also,
let's
like,
go get something to eat.
Yeah, I'd leave the conversation and I'd be like, that's really cool. Like, that guy's impressive. But, like, he risked his life for some shit that I'm just like, huh?
Yes, that's my point. That's my reaction. Is like, I get it. It's super hard. It's fucking nearly impossible. People die all the time doing it. But at the end of the day, you're one of so many people who did it.
Yeah.
Like, again, so you really want me to get impressed? If you want me to be impressed, and I know the bar is insanely high, but I don't know, you got to find a way. Like Felix Baumgartner, that impressed me. The dude who was in the, who basically skydived,
Oh, is it the free-falling guy?
from, yes. That guy.
That was amazing.
That was fucking impressive.
Yeah.
Because he's like, oh, that's nice. So there's a record. Well, how about I fucking obliterate it?
Yeah.
That I get. That
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, you just, like, your name is now in the fucking history books.
Yeah.
I get that.
Yeah.
I don't get I'm the fucking 93rd thousand trillionth person to climb Everest, even though it's super hard and I almost died, but now there's no upside except saying I fucking climbed Everest.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even the guy who did the free fall thing, we knew him for like 15 minutes.
Now he's kind of gone.
Now
That's
he's
true.
kinda
But,
gone.
but my point is, at least well, until somebody breaks his record, if that's even possible.
Yeah.
But his name is in the history books.
It's not even like you get a plaque for doing all this shit. You know, like
yeah, your name just goes, well.
No, there's no name for climbing Everest. Like you get on. I saw a local news story once of a guy who climbed Everest, and he was blind, but it's the
What?
funniest clip. Yeah, if you look it up on
Okay, that
YouTube,
actually impresses me.
Yeah.
I take back everything I said. That's fucking impressive.
it's the funniest clip on YouTube, but that's probably not true. But the news anchor was like, Jim Gallagher climbed Mount Everest, but he's gay. Gay, I mean blind.
Yeah. I remember that. I've seen that. That is really fucking funny.
So that guy will get remembered
Yeah.
for a while because they fucked up that news story.
It reminds me of Anchorman. Like, he reads anything off the prompter.
Yeah.
Like, so that somebody probably was fucking with that news anchor and said that shit.
But he's gay. Gay, I mean blind.
So I was like, I never answer my phone. Like, I never fucking answer it. But since there was a studio renovation and everything going on, I was basically put in a position where I had to start answering shit.
Yeah.
But I'm like quadrupling down on I'm never fucking answering my phone because, not kidding, over 50% of the things I answered were like spam phone calls.
It's getting
First
worse.
Of all, what even is a spam phone call? Like, what is that? What's going on? Like, I would get calls and be like, "Hi, can you hear me?" I'm like, "Yeah." I'm like, so anyway, you've won the blah 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 blah.
But there's that long pause in the beginning, right? So
Yes.
like you're a little like weird about it at first.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be rude because like you said, like
But by
they're
the
doing the
second
renovations.
one where they said the same thing, "Hi,
Yeah.
can you hear me?" I was like, "You're only saying that 'cause you don't know my fucking name,
Yeah.
and you're calling me because you're trying to sell me some fucking
Yeah.
crazy shit." But I've gotten so many of those calls now. Do you get them or
I
no?
get them and they're from maybe a neighboring town or something. So I'm
yes,
like,
me too. Same shit.
I'm like, okay, maybe this is someone I know who like, and I'll pick up and it's like pause. It's like, "Hi, Corin. This is Bill from Jonathan. Your credit card has been denied." I'm just like I get so fed up, but I don't pick them up anymore, and I feel bad for the genuine people who are trying to get in touch with me because I'm never going to answer your phone call now.
Okay.
Or United States is a big one now. Do you get that one?
No.
It's just like a random number, and underneath it just says United States
No,
now.
I don't get that
That's
one.
been happening a lot now too. So be ready for that one.
I'm basically a phone Nazi. Like, don't call me. I don't want to talk to you. Nobody should call me. Like, text. I'm cool with texting.
Yep.
And I don't even have my voicemail set up.
Yeah, no voicemails.
And then when people say to me, like, "Why isn't your voicemail set up?" I'm like, really? Is that a fucking serious question you're asking me? Think about it. First of all, I see the name of the person calling, so I know that, oh, this is a person I want to talk to.
Yep.
Or this is a person I'm going to hang out with or whatever. But I'm like, I already saw your name. So if you're going to fucking leave a message, you remember those stories about my dad I used to talk about all the time.
Yeah.
My dad, like, he would just never get it. I tell him, like, "Okay, look, man, like, I love you. You got to stop with the voicemails, dog."
You used to say, he'd be like, "Hey, buddy."
So, how's it going? A lot of stuff happening in the
You're
world.
just like, oh man.
So anyway, I was just calling because I wanted to talk to you. So look, when you get a chance, maybe give me a call back.
Anyway, I'll tell you about it right now. He like tells you the whole thing.
So I had like 812 fucking voicemails from my dad.
Oh,
they were just sitting there.
God.
Because every time I say, "Oh, I have a new voicemail," I would just pick up the phone and fucking call him. Or I would text him. Well, not him. He would never text anyway, so I never did. I was forced to call him. But yeah, like I don't even get why voicemails exist.
No,
like
they'd
maybe if
probably
it's
go
like an
away.
emergency and okay, now I'm going out of fucking service, but I got to tell you what happened. So hey, Jeff broke his leg and we got to go take care of it. That I get. But people leaving voicemails for like, just stop. That's some 1950s
That
shit.
should be something that goes away with like technology.
Yeah, it feels like it's just old school.
It shouldn't be an option on phones anymore. Like to set up your.
It kind of feels like fucking like beepers almost. Like it feels like that kind of old shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, it's beep beep. Oh, I must call this person back. But it's even worse than that because then you got to listen to them fucking drone on for a little bit before.
Yep. It's even like that's how it should be with like numbers you don't know now. It shouldn't just be like it shouldn't just tell you the area it's coming from. It should tell you like who it is or like what company it is. Like
Yeah,
we're
that would be
definitely at
great
a point
if it
now
said
where
that.
it's like if you got a call for some credit
That would
card
make a good
company,
law. I think you just came up with a good law where it has to say the name of the company
like,
as opposed to.
I don't want to know what town it is. I want to know like this is fake like credit card scam calling you. So I could just be like, no, I don't want to pick up. Like
there are some decent scams now. Like they've gotten better. Like I've had to.
I was just talking about this the other day. Scams are getting crazy.
Like I had to talk to my buddy who's like kind of like an expert on this kind of stuff for him to tell me like, no, that one, it's like a scam. Don't do that.
Oh, for like something you were trying to do?
Yeah, like I was sent in email and it was me and a bunch of other like some prominent YouTubers in there. And I forget what the content of the email was, but it sounded like semi-legit. Like it sounded like, oh, a certain percentage of your funds from YouTube have been frozen for blah, 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 blah. And you call this number and you know, fill out the information in this link in order to release those funds. And then it had like a bullshit department from the government or some shit.
Oh, wow.
But it was done. So the way they worded it, though, and the way it was laid out was like somewhat legit looking.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm fishy on this. But what I did is I reached out to my buddy and I was like, what do you think? He's like, nope, scam.
Wow.
So, but I mean, think about it. It was something that I was like 65% sure was bullshit. But 65% is not crazy.
There's a lot of wiggle room there.
Yeah. So that was fucking nuts.
There was a scam I saw with, well, gas station scams are huge because they could put like a little chip on the like credit card thing. So you swipe your credit card and they like take your whole identity. They like put those on the actual like credit card machine, like on the pump.
No shit.
So that was like one that I knew about. But there was another one I just saw where like, you know how the pumps are like back to back?
Yeah.
So what people do is they take the pump from like the reverse one and put it on the other one. So when you swipe your credit card, they just start pumping their gas.
Oh,
because
shit.
the nozzle thing from the one side is on the other side.
Yeah.
You fill up your gas and just bounce.
Oh man,
That's pretty smart.
that is smart. Thankfully, in that one though, they only get one tank of gas, right?
Yeah, they only get one
they don't.
gas.
They don't actually get your identity.
Yeah,
shit.
they would just fill it up because their hose is like on your side.
Yeah,
And
you
you're
could
like,
probably
oh,
find
this
a way
isn't
to make
working.
the hose look like it's straight.
They're
it's
close.
fine.
They're like back to back.
Yeah.
People are smart with. Well, that's why they always hire like for like CIA and all this stuff. They hire like former people who used to.
Oh
steal
yeah,
identities.
like for hackers.
Yeah.
I mean, for next level hacking shit and artificial intelligence shit. Like obviously, people who get really good at that.
That's like criminals are usually like, for as bad of people they are sort of smart.
It depends what kind,
up,
obviously. Yeah. But if, like hackers and shit, like they could
Or
have a
even
high
prisoners.
level.
Like you see in movies, like they're finding ways to smuggle in drugs or like to write in an envelope some weird like heroin something. Like you have to think of this stuff. Yeah, you have a lot of time.
That's true.
You know, like, but I would never have thought of that.
No, you're right. It's like they have the capability and the ability to just like thrive in society, but they're putting their efforts towards something like, I just want to game the system real quick and get away with it. But it takes a tremendous amount of effort and like dedication to be a certain kind of criminal and to be able to get away with that kind of stuff.
Or even a big bank robbery. If you could pull it off, it's still like you had to really think about, I'm going to go here, do this.
I mean, think about this. The people who crashed the economy, like on Wall Street, like they were fucking criminals, is what it was.
Yeah.
Like I always saw the Goldman Sachs example is the perfect example because you had people who they would sell these subprime mortgage packages to their clients and say, "Look, man, you're going to make a lot of money, so I'm telling you right now, you got to get into this and you got to stay in this, and it's going to be great." So they would sell these packages and do their sales pitch, and it would work many times. And then they would also turn around and bet on the same package they just sold to fail.
Because they knew they were
which you're allowed to do because they knew it was bullshit.
Yeah.
So, and that's why Bernie Sanders would always say their business model was fraud.
Yeah.
But there were other ways they did it too. Like they would do these things. they play like hot potato with the packages. So like you could be the company that sells shitty mortgages where you know they're going to go belly up, and you know that this isn't real growth and it's not real profit on your books. But what you do is you sell the package, and then you can just make a deal from company to company, from financial institution to financial institution, and basically say, okay, I'm showing the profits on my books, but I unloaded the debt. So now I don't hold it anymore. Somebody else holds it.
They sell it to another company or something,
exactly.
Right?
And then they sell to another company, and they sell to another company. And then everybody's books are showing, oh, we've made X amount of money and we're doing fantastic. And then you can pay out bonuses in accordance with that. And you're just rigging the game. It's just a giant fucking scam. It's just a giant con job. So that's why the thing, like the guys on Wall Street, they're not the smartest guys in the room at all because they're fucking crashed the economy. But in terms of what they did for their own fucking bank accounts,
just con artists.
It was just a con artist move is what it was. I mean, Donald Trump, even with his he did the old Mitt Romney trick, the Bain Capital trick, where like he'd buy a business that was struggling, and he would try to turn it around, but he'd load it up. He'd leverage the fuck out of the company and load it up with debt. So it looks like everything's going well because you just got a cash infusion from a financial institution. So now you're able to make it look brand new and renovate it. Everybody goes, oh my God, it's a miracle, yada, yada. But then it goes belly up in a few years when he can't pay it back. But what does he do? He uses the bankruptcy laws where he has limited liability. So he gets to take a shitload of money and run out the back door, and everybody loses their job. And that's what the whole Bain Capital thing with Mitt Romney was. I don't know if you remember, there was one point where there was a scandal because there was an old video of him saying, we harvest companies. So that's what he does. They go in, struggling companies, they take them over, they get their banker buddies to give them a shitload of money, and then eventually the company goes belly up anyway, and they made their cut in the meantime.
Oh, really?
So they walk out the back door with hundreds of millions of dollars as the person who owned the business was screwed.
So Romney's a shady guy too, right?
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because I mean, he's a buddy of mine in Chicago. He swears by Romney. He's just like, clean cut, never got involved with this and that.
Okay, so that's interesting because
like he swears by him.
But see, that's the thing. That goes to like image.
Yeah.
So like when you look at Mitt Romney, there's a lot of people in the U.S. who would say, oh, he looks presidential. Like he's got the right name, he's got the right fucking haircut, he's got just the right amount of fucking gray on the side of his head, like all that shit, the posture, the fucking robotic speeches, yada yada. Mitt Romney would have been a massively successful politician in like the 1950s. Like he's the quintessential 1950s fucking American guy, right? But that didn't cut it anymore. People were like, I'm sick of the bullshit, and now we got to move on past that. But it sounds like your friend is that kind of a person where it's about image to him.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is like, ooh, presidential. Like, I feel the daddy Romney will take care of the country the right way. Yeah. But meanwhile, if you get into policy specifics, I bet you even that guy doesn't fucking agree with at least 50% of Mitt Romney's policies.
Probably not, but he would still probably defend it.
Isn't it weird? Like, it's weird when people...
I mean, I do that with the Knicks. The guy could be terrible, but
that's
I'll still
a sport
be like,
team that you just like.
Yeah.
When you talk about politicians, you're talking about like these are people who are going to implement policies that affect your life directly, and you can objectively, empirically say, "Hey, Mitt Romney will be worse for the middle class than Obama," or whatever, Bernie Sanders, you name it.
Okay, I guess you're right. It's different than defending someone who like won't have an effect on anything.
Yeah, and if he was nuanced about it, it'd be cool. If he said, "Look, I just like the guy, but whatever, his policies wouldn't be great for all these people." Yeah. That's fine, but he probably wouldn't. He'd probably say, "No, I want to have it both ways. I like him, therefore he'd be a great president. Therefore his policies are good for the middle class and the poor and yada yada." Yeah. But for sports, it's totally different. Me too. I mean, I love the Knicks, and that doesn't mean I would say they're the best team in the league because they're not. Yeah. But it does mean I like them.
People are out there that will try and argue that,
You think so? No. You think so?
People be like, yeah, they suck, but like, we'll be in first place. Like, it's like,
we'll be in first place.
No. And then people do that with their politicians.
We're over 500 now, right? The Knicks?
I think we're at 500 right now, losing to the Bobcats last night, or the Hornets, whatever the hell they are.
So what are we, 7-7?
I think we're 8-8 or 8-9.
I'm going to look it up as we're talking right now.
And Jordan was in the house last night. They had a back-to-back with the Hornets. They won the first one, which was a good game, and then they lost the second.
So are you still thinking the same thing that what the fuck? Are you still thinking the same thing that I was thinking with
what, championship?
With what the problem is on the Knicks? Or no?
No, I think we're all right now because Rose is healthy, so like having a good point guard is good. But yeah, you need a good point guard. So I think we'll be all right. We've never had. But are you
still down on Melo like I am?
Oh yeah, Melo's he holds the ball, but So I was talking to someone about this, my boy Jay, and it was like he's never had a guard or someone else that he can trust to, pass the ball in the last, minute or something,
We're 8-8.
8-8.
Yeah.
So 500's not that
Yeah,
bad.
no, I'm not mad at that. No, but the thing is, he slows down the game and makes it isolation.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, he's one of the best isolation players in the fucking world.
But it doesn't help the team.
Exactly. But yeah, it's a little bit of like an Iverson aspect to it, where it's like you're a beast.
Yeah.
But you're not going to be on a winning team
That
because
just
of what you
goes
do.
to show how much more of a beast than like an Iverson was to like a Melo. You know,
Yeah.
Iverson carried his team by
the
doing that
finals.
one-on-one
That's right.
stuff. You know,
And he's fucking 6'2"
and
or
he's
some
6
shit.
foot like nothing. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah, it really
I
is.
love seeing someone so good.
Me too.
Being so good.
I mean, the only players who can do it really could do it on their own.
Mm-hmm.
LeBron James,
Kobe.
Michael Jordan,
Yeah.
and Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
And even with them, even with Kobe, if it was him and he had literally no other help, he couldn't do it.
No.
Like when it was him and Smush Parker and fucking Kwame
They were
Brown.
trash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy, but that shows you that a system matters. So I was looking at the numbers for one of the games. I forget which game it was, but it was the bench. The people were plus something crazy, and the starters were negative some
the bench
shit.
had better numbers than the starters.
Yeah, and I think that's probably because of ball movement and shit.
Yeah, it's the system. I mean, everybody's in the NBA for a reason. So if you just put them in the right position, they'll be good. That's with anything, though. If someone sets you up good, if you go to a job and they give you bad training and this and that, you're not going to do well.
Yeah.
But you go to a good company and they teach you the right things and they put you they're all right, he's not good with this, but Jane, show him how to do that. That person's going to kill it.
You think they're embracing the team philosophy?
Knicks?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think they just have to like each other. You know, that's all that matters with the team is I'll pass the ball to this guy. He's cool. He's good. I trust him. Whereas if they don't have good chemistry, they don't trust each other.
I'm curious to see how it's going to unfold. How far they'll get.
They'll probably not make
second
the
round. You don't think they'll make the playoffs?
No, they'll make the playoffs.
Second round.
That's what. Yeah, I was thinking they'd probably lose in the second round.
Right now, they're.
But if you match them up against Golden State, it's just another level. It's minor leagues versus
I mean, we're looking at Cleveland, Golden State again, right?
Yeah.
That's what it's going to be.
But even if you try to envision the Knicks playing Golden State in the finals, it's just a different Durant.
No, it's just a different
Steph,
level of
Clay,
basketball. Yeah.
Draymond. It's just these guys aren't even on the same playing field.
Yeah. Yeah. I
But
mean,
surprise shit happens.
if you get rid of Melo and had LeBron in Melo's place, then we'd probably be a championship team.
Yeah. I mean, it's two different guys. You know?
I know, but it just sounds so good when it's just one move. It's just one move. I mean, it's not going to happen, but just one move
Can change your whole dynamic.
would change everything.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. It's wild.
So I was speaking again, I'm back to emails here, but they've been bugging me.
Mm-hmm.
I was getting emails. So it's time for me to change my health insurance. I got to change it every year.
Mm-hmm.
One of the fucking headlines of the emails sent to me by my insurance company was, "Your health matters." And that really pissed me off. Because you don't give a fuck about my health. And I keep getting shit from them.
That's not even
it's
a
time to
catchy
sign up
headline.
again. And it's not... You don't care about my health, number one. Number two, you're just trying to make money. Number three, stop trying to play like it's anything but that. Because these headlines of time to sign up again because, your health matters.
Hey,
and
big guy.
we care about you. How's it going? I'm just curious. I'm just your fucking rapacious health insurance company. But and this is going to get into a bigger conversation about Obamacare. But so Obamacare, it looks like the Republicans are going to gut it.
Really?
Yeah.
But wasn't Trump saying the two main important parts of it he likes?
So he did. There was the children staying on their parents' health insurance until age 26 or whatever it was. He said he wants to keep that. He also said he wants to keep the forcing insurance companies to cover people with pre-existing conditions.
Yeah.
So that's good. But there's a lot more to it.
Oh, okay.
And it looks like if they go through with it, which they probably will, 20 million people are going to lose their health insurance. So when I started doing the show, I needed Obamacare, and I actually was able to get a subsidy through it. So I was paying I don't know, I think it was $150 a month for health insurance or something, and I think it was silver level, which isn't bad.
Yeah.
And so it was good. It was good. That made it so I could get covered. If it wasn't for Obamacare, I would have been covered. Now
is it more challenging?
I still use the exchanges, but I don't get a subsidy. So, but either way, I still use the exchanges, and
So subsidy, what does that mean?
A subsidy means the government gives, like the government pays a certain percentage of it. So when I was getting the subsidy, let's say my health insurance was $300 a month, but the government picked up $150 of it. So I only had to pay $150 of it.
Got it.
And that a lot of people need that, and they should have that.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that we have a fucking country that doesn't have a single payer system. But like, if they get their way, they'll gut the exchanges and they'll make it so that like 20 million people will lose their health insurance, and it'll be a fucking mess. But like, I was thinking again, like for me, it annoys me that every year it's like you have to sign up for health insurance. But that's not a thing in other countries. You get sick, you get help. That's it. That's the end of the conversation. And it comes out of your taxes. Mm-hmm. So here we have our fucking taxes goes towards a bunch of stupid shit. I mean, we got fucking, we're the world policemen. We spend $100 billion on 800 military bases. We fucking war in Iraq. We're bombing 7 different countries right now. We got corporate welfare. We give $4 billion a year to ExxonMobil for research and development when they don't fucking need it.
No.
So we're spending on all that garbage. Mm-hmm. But we're not spending that much on healthcare. We're spending on Medicare and Medicaid, but we should have Medicare for everybody. Mm-hmm. But anyway, it just fucking frustrates me. Like, every time I get an email from my health insurance company,
that's something you have to think about.
Stop fucking sending me an email,
yeah,
and stop making me sign up for some shit that should just be. And then I've spoken about it before, but the idea of deductibles. Me and my cousin were talking about this over Thanksgiving. He was disagreeing with me a little bit, and he was trying to give like a different potential kind of system. But like I was saying, it's the idea that like, okay, every month you're going to pay X amount of money. Mm-hmm. Let's say you pay $500 a month. And then when you got to go do some shit, they go, oh, well, just, it's cool. We'll cover it. The health insurance company will cover it, but you got to pay the first $2,000. Then why the fuck am I giving you $500 a month? Yeah. If when some shit happens, you say, now you pay the first X amount. Like, what the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
So it's just rigged in so many ways to like fuck over people.
Yeah.
And there's a fucking like a profit margin for the insurance companies. Well, why should there be? I mean, I'm fine with for-profit insurance companies existing, but they shouldn't be the only option. And that is the only option for like middle-class working people. Like, you don't have, I mean, you can get it through your job, which is like usually the nicest way to get it if you're a middle-class working person.
Well, I'm married now. I can get it. So even if like I can get it off of my wife.
Your wife.
Yeah.
So that works out too. But for some people, if they're not married, if they don't have a job that offers health insurance, they got to get it on their own.
Yeah.
And they get fucking hammered with it and they can't afford it. So they got to do something to change it, man. Like,
but the argument, I had this at Thanksgiving with one of the people that was at my Thanksgiving that I just was so confused on why he is conservative. And he was like, yeah, but it's just not, it's not realistic. We can't have health care for everyone and everybody wants free college. And I was just like, I don't know how to do it, but I guess I was like, they're doing it in other countries, so we can do it.
Those arguments piss me off the most because it's just an ignorant fucking thing to say. Yeah. Like, we can't do it because it's hard. Like, what does that even mean? Aren't we the country that always says we're number one and we want to be the best in the world? Yeah. Except when it comes to really important shit like education and healthcare. There, we're cool with number fucking 37 and we're cool with trillions of dollars in student loan debt. It's like, no, that's fucking crazy. So every other modern nation has universal healthcare. Every other one. And they have one version or another of single payer systems, which means the government is the single insurer of everybody. Whereas we have private health insurance companies, which is why we're talking about how they have profit margins and they're fucking
trying to make money.
rapacious.
Who charge you what, $800 for a tissue box or something?
Exactly, and that's the thing. The other thing is the health care companies also fuck people over.
Get their hands
so
on
like the insurance companies are one thing, and then the health care companies, which is what you just mentioned. I had covered the story of, they'll bill you for a fucking box of tissues and call it a cough suppressant aid and charge you a couple $100.
Yeah.
Where that's just fucking price gouging is what it is, and it's an unregulated fucking hellhole. But every other modern nation, they have one version or another of a single payer system, and they have their prices. They pay less for better care. The only counter argument people make that has a little bit of truth to it is, well, look, for elective procedures, you might have to wait longer in those countries. Elective meaning not like an urgent necessary procedure. So like, I don't know, if you want to get something
acne
done
or something like that.
Well, acne, dermatology, shit like that. But beyond that, like let's say you need a knee surgery, but your pain isn't urgent you just chose the knee surgery, you didn't have to get it, but you chose it, okay, you might have to wait 3 months. But you want to know why that is? Because there's fucking people lined up who need the help immediately. So
which makes sense.
That's my point, is they like do that by necessity.
Priority.
We don't do it by necessity, which is why we have, people, middle-class people who get fucked in this country because it's about, like, don't get me wrong, a rich fucking Saudi prince will come to the U.S. for healthcare. Why? We have the best healthcare for super rich people.
Yeah.
But if you're not super rich, you're going to get fucked. I mean, 45,000 people die every year because they don't have access to basic healthcare here. That's not a thing in other countries.
Yeah.
That's not a thing in other modern countries, I should say. So, yeah, no, it's just the idea that we can't afford it, we can't do it, it's not possible. It's just ignorance is what it is. So another argument that they often make is, well, it's just, look, we have too many people in the U.S. to do it. Like, we have 300 plus million people. That's too many people. The countries you talk about, Kyle, where you say, oh, I like that model, you're talking about countries like fucking Denmark and Sweden, and they're small. They're nothing like us. We got so many people. It's just too hard to work. And the response to that is, okay, let me just grant that point to you. So I'm not even going to argue that point. I'll agree with that point. Well, there's another way we could do a single-payer system. We could make it so that you pass a federal law that says every state has to implement their own single-payer system. So you basically make it federally mandated single payer, but each state has to set it up. So New York has their own single payer system. Mississippi has their own single payer system. Florida has their own single payer system. And you treat the states like they're nation states, basically. And that's it. There you go. So that argument is addressed. So then they have to make a different argument. They have to say, oh, well, I don't know. Now let me move the goalpost and make a different argument. But every time they move the goalpost, it's just a stupid point. And also, when you're making a fucking list so you're creating a country from scratch. And so are we going to have a government or no? Well, every modern fucking country has a government. Of course, you need a government. So then how big should the government be? You can get into the details of that. But if you're making a list of what are the most important things that we should fund with our taxes, it might be number one on my list.
Yeah, health is pretty important.
Healthcare, I mean, obviously you have, like, for defense, you have to have a military. So, okay, that's up there. Police, court system, yada, yada. But health is right up there. Top 10, for sure. And we're not even at that point, which is crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I guess we don't know where our priorities are as a country.
Because the government's fucking bought too. I mean, they're doing the bidding of, with the health insurance companies and the pharmaceutical companies, like, they just have the fucking government by the nutsack.
And oil too, right?
And oil too, which is, again, why ExxonMobil gets $4 billion a year, but they're one of the most profitable corporations on the planet.
Is that why the government won't, I know that pipeline thing is a whole different, beast, but is that why the government really won't take a stand? Because the oil just has them by the nuts there?
So that's a part of it. That's a part of it for sure. So there's a Texas oil billionaire who wants to do this pipeline, and they completed a lot of it, and then now it basically has to run through Native American land, and it runs through a river, which could fuck up the water, and all this shit. And so they were trying, okay, let's try to find a way to work it around or whatever, but the billionaire said no. I mean, the government, Obama has made some shitty comments about it. They're like, well, look, we got to respect the protesters and we have to respect the law enforcement. And
right in the middle.
He's trying to be right in the middle of it. And yeah, I mean, that's a big part of it. And then the scary thing to think about is what happens under a fucking Trump administration where I think one of the companies, he's invested in one of the companies that's doing the Dakota Access Pipeline, that's involved with it. So, and he says, look, man, he wants no regulation on coal, no regulation on fracking, so this is an area where he's massively right-wing, and he will crack down on those protesters like you've never seen. And also, a lot of the police that are there, it's not just police, it's also like oil security, like private security hired by the oil companies. So it's like you have this fucking
hand-picked scary people.
You have this meshing together of oil company and state, where they're coming together to crack down on the protesters. That's one of the definitions of fascism that Mussolini gave, was when you have the corporations and the government combined. That's not a good enough definition because there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's an aspect of it.
It's scary.
And it's showing in the Dakota Access Pipeline. I mean, it's a perfect example.
Yeah, I saw the video that some guy went Facebook Live and they were tear gassing and everything. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It's the stuff they were doing to the people.
So before we wrap up, I wanted to... I had an old topic that I wanted to discuss with you. That I think we did a Kyle and Corin podcast, and then remember it, like the audio was fucked up.
Yeah.
And like I couldn't release it because there was a problem
And
with
it was
my
type
internet
gold,
or your
too.
internet. It was a good one. I think we may have spoken about this in that one, but I wanted to revisit it because it's an issue that I still think about to this day.
Okay.
So when you're younger and you're in school and like you're assigned homework, you think like, well, this is bullshit.
Yeah.
Like I shouldn't have to do this, and I don't tell my fucking teacher what to do when they go home, and it just seems obnoxious and unnecessary. And the argument always was, well, look, when you're older, you'll get it. Like you'll see why they want to do that. And my response is no.
Yeah.
I still to this day, and I'm a fucking known, proven, verifiable dork.
Yep.
Like it is, write it in stone. I'm as dorky as it gets. But I'm flat out anti-homework. Like I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't fucking ban it.
Yeah.
But I would say to teachers, like, you know, hey, look, try to take care of what you got to take care of in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because I don't think I don't know, I feel like we need a whole new approach to education. Because I know from my experience, and granted this is anecdotal again, this personal experience, but I always learned more when it was obvious that the thing we're talking about is interesting.
Yeah.
So you have to make it, and don't get me wrong, so sometimes it'll just be impossible to make certain subjects interesting for certain kids. But you gotta try. And I don't think they try.
No. And yeah, I don't remember any of the homework assignments that I've ever done.
Well, that's because you didn't do any.
Yeah, I never did any. But like going back into a textbook and just like, you know, sifting through what you need. And well, that goes back to like just trying to find what you need. So you just go, you wouldn't read any of it, but you would just find like a code word and type it into you write it into your homework.
Like learning for the test is a thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah.
I just got to get for the answers for the test, but I don't have to know
Exactly.
anything. Like it'd be much better. Me in politics is a good example, and this is not, I'm not the only case of this. There's a million cases of this with somebody who happens to like math and it worked for them, and somebody who liked a different topic. But I actually like the subject matter, and that was the hook. So then,
You did your own research, more or
right?
less.
So I was going to say that I've actually probably learned more myself in my room at night.
Then being
just
like, hey,
reading
here's
all the-
a forced question.
Here's
that you
a
have to look
textbook
up.
that's written in a really dry way, an annoying way that's not going to interest you. It's not
Yep.
even made to try to interest you, and we're just going to try to force you to learn it. And also the idea of standardized testing.
Yeah.
Like I get it, but at the same time, the kids aren't fucking learning. Like, do you actually want them to learn, or do you just want to have something where you go through the motions? And teachers is a big part of that too. Like if you have a teacher who cares about that subject they're discussing, well, they can make it interesting just by the fact that they love it. Like if you have a teacher who's like a math teacher.
Well, we had the psychology teacher, Mr. Mott,
Mr.
who was
Mott.
the man.
That's right.
Never really, not that I can remember, never really gave homework, but like
Yeah, no, he didn't. He didn't really give homework.
we were just intrigued by the class because it was like something we enjoyed.
Right.
Whereas
psychology.
like a math class, you're just like, fuck, man.
Exactly.
Like I don't want to do this.
And he found a way to make it interesting. Like
Yeah.
he found a way to
And then on our own,
relate it. It
when
was
we went
relatable.
home,
Yeah.
we'd talk about it and we'd discuss like, hey, remember when Mott said this in class? And he's like, well, yeah, well, that's probably because this dude was an introvert or extrovert.
Exactly.
And you sparked the discussion on your own and like you run with it. Whereas like being forced to do something, you do it and you're like, fuck that. I don't even want to like look at that textbook again. And it like turns you off from that.
I think there's some countries that do, or maybe one, it might be Switzerland. I don't know, so don't quote me on that, guys. But there's like a few countries that have tried to break away from the old model of teaching and learning.
I think I heard that too.
And it's been
yeah.
successful as fuck.
Yeah.
Like people just fucking absorb information like nobody's business.
Yeah.
Because, and don't get me wrong. So like, are there certain things where it's kind of unavoidable? Like if you're studying to become a doctor, you got to know everything about it. So I get the idea of that being a special thing where it's really tedious and you have. So if you're put in a position where in order to learn it, you got to be doing work at home. I get it. But for most things, it's more, if you really want school to be about education and learning, probably the best way for somebody to learn is it's got to be something that kind of pierces through and gets in their brain, and the only way to do that is to make it entertaining and relatable.
Or make it about real life stuff. So like a math class shouldn't be like long division and X like E equals MC squared. It should be like, here's how to manage your bank account.
Oh, that's true. I feel like math,
a checking account, a savings account.
You're so right.
A credit card.
You're so right, and that's a point I didn't think of because I was going to say math is like unique in how shitty it is because I'm just saying that because I'm not a math person, but like it's hard to make that interesting for some people because they're just not math people. But yeah, a part of it should be like, shouldn't there be a class about shit like that? Like a whole class about, oh, by the way, here's like the practical things you're going to need when you grow up and like through
what
going through the
happens
motions.
when you graduate from college 101.
Right, exactly.
Like,
so hey, here's how you balance a checkbook. Here's how
Yeah.
you do this. Here's how you do that. You know,
like you'll have a 2-month period of where you're just gonna chill, but then like you're gonna have to start sending out your resume or like resume 101. Like
yeah,
the class.
I was on my own for resumes.
You don't know
Nobody
shit.
knows
Like,
shit.
I would hit up my
Look it up
sister.
how to do a resume.
Yeah.
Fucking on Google Images.
It's like, yeah, you need to learn about obviously like the Civil War and like, you know, Martin Luther King and all this important historic stuff.
Of course.
But like they go so much in detail about it that it's just like,
well, you could if a teacher does that one right, I think everybody will be interested. Now maybe that's my bias, maybe that's my political bias talking, but that shit is fascinating. If you're like, you could easily teach somebody about World War II because what happened was fucking insane, you know? So like that should apply there, that kind of thinking of,
or that should be at a younger level. Like that should be elementary school. Like learn the basics.
When did we learn about that? I don't even know when we learned about that.
I feel like every step of the way, it's just like we kept learning the same shit, but it just got like more advanced. Like, so in elementary school, I could be totally wrong because I have a worse memory. But it could be like, here's Martin Luther King. He had a dream. Then like you go to middle school and it's like his dream, and like these are the people that like did the shit with him. And then like high school, it's like, all right, like why is he doing this? Like this was the reason, you know, like, and it gets more advanced as you go along.
Yeah, my honestly, I don't remember what it was like on that one, but I like the idea of I don't think there's like civics, the class civics. I don't think that's taught in many places anymore, and so I feel like that's a necessity. Like people should know how their government works, and it should. If a teacher likes that stuff and they teach that class, they'll get it, and they'll say, "Oh, okay, I see why this is important. I see why this matters." Yada yada. But I also like your idea of like, you know, like
buying a car.
There was but there was like a home ec class where it was like, okay, here's how you cook, here's how you do this. Okay, that made sense. But then also, why not apply it in the other things where that they don't teach like that? Yeah, like buying a car, doing all that other shit. But like education should be a mix of that practical shit and like just genuine learning about the world, so you know a lot of stuff and you can form a worldview and stuff like that. But again, I think the key thing is it needs to be geared towards, not towards like, oh, here's the test, take the test, get on by it, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
But geared towards, I really want to make these kids have a thirst for knowledge. And honestly, I think. So, like, you know, with what we do, what with other new media outlets do, I think it sparks interest for a lot of people to get more involved in it. But if you really think about it, it's like I have a class called News, you know? Like, that's what it is. I'm doing a class called News. Yeah. News with opinion, and, you know, that opinion represents a certain political philosophy. But, like, that'll get people interested versus... You know, the shit. I mean, the way that they teach so many things, I was just dead in the water from having any interest in them because the teachers
like
suck.
Earth science. It's like, well, here it's like, yeah, I'm sure you need to know why, you know, plants are this and that, but like,
if there's a good fucking teacher for earth science, then maybe I would have been interested in it. But there wasn't a teacher who I had who like was able to really get through and explain it in a way. Like, again, to bring up Joe Rogan, this is the second time he got mentioned on this.
And Gurney, right?
Gurney was cool, so I had a little bit of interest in economics.
Yeah.
But like Joe Rogan said that he spoke to like a science teacher when he was a kid or something, and the teacher like said something that really made Joe understand the vastness of the universe and like how small the world is, and you know the fact that okay, well, you're within a solar system. We're within a solar system. And then the solar system is within a galaxy. And then the galaxy is within a universe. And then the universe might be within a multiverse. Yeah. And like, so, but he framed it in a way where it was like, oh shit, now I'm interested in that.
Yep.
And then from then on, it was like a lifelong, now I'm interested and I want to learn about that. If you compare that with like, you know, the Ben Stein character in fucking Ferris Bueller's Day Off, I think it was, where he's like, Bueller. Like, that's how a lot of teachers are kind of like that. And it's, okay, I'm just going to go through the motions and fucking talk about whatever. I like how this conversation started with me saying fuck homework and ends with me like arrogantly lecturing fucking like the education system. Like, this is how it should be, damn it. But yeah,
I mean, it should be though. I don't know.
Don't you feel like homework turned you off to fucking school, period?
I'm thinking to the fact that like all it takes is like one awesome like sentence from a teacher to like spark your interest. And it just goes to show that like some teachers can't even just hit you like a whole semester, can't hit you with one thing that you'd be like,
inspiring. Some inspiring shit.
Like they should all have one-liners of just like, all right, if you're fucking up, just say this one thing and he'll remember it forever. You know,
I have a big dick.
Yeah. I'll be like, okay, my science teacher once told me he had a big dick. Like, and you remember, like, I remember like certain things that some teachers said that like when it comes up in my life now, I'm like, okay, I remember he told me that once. Whereas bad teachers, I don't remember that stuff because it was just like, hey, do your homework on page 47. And it's like you forget about that class.
And doesn't it also give you, I know I keep going off on homework, but doesn't it give you, it almost gives you this taste of just unfairness. Mm-hmm. It's like, well, I don't think this is fair. Mm-hmm. I just spent hours there and now I got to come back here and do some shit for there again. Mm-hmm. Whereas even they tell you, I mean, look, with some jobs that's not the case. But the way it works in a lot of countries, like I think they passed a fucking law somewhere recently where it's like you're not allowed to answer work emails when you're at home.
Oh, yeah.
And by the way, I wouldn't go that far, but I would just say the company policy should be, look, when you're off, you're off.
Yeah.
Like I get how
a lot of places say that, but they're like, they're like wink.
Exactly, because
like,
salaried employees are different, and they say, look, you're going to make the salary, so you gotta just take care of your work no matter where you end up doing it. But I mean, I think I'm just biased because I like those cultures that are more geared towards a balance between work time and leisure time.
Well, you work a lot. Would you ever think of going to like a Bill Maher type of thing where you took like a 6-week off or some shit and came back like super refreshed?
Not now, but I could see myself when I'm older doing that. And again, I think I'm not the best example because I'm somebody who does something that I'm lucky to do something that I love where many people are not. Mm-hmm. And what I'm saying is we should acknowledge the reality that most people are not working in a job that they love. And then once you acknowledge that, you have to try to build a system around that to accommodate for their needs because they're human beings. And human beings are not just fucking spokes in a machine or a wheel or whatever. And, you know, they're complex and they got passions and some of them can't earn money through their passions. So you got to have a better balance between work time and leisure time. And I feel like,
well, you're handcuffed to your job.
I feel like the idea of like answering emails when you're at home, it smacks of that. It's just gross. Like there should be a time for that and a time for other things, especially if you're doing something you don't love and you're working for a company where like you're just a fucking, you know, you're just a part of the machine that they don't really view in human terms. They view you as more in like
just a robot,
dollar signs. Yeah, exactly. So, and homework reminds me of that. It reminds me of like this, like, okay, you're going to come here and we're going to go through all this shit and then you're going to go home and we're going to make you do the same thing. Well, what the fuck? Why is it like that? Whereas again, in Europe, in some places, they take an hour off for lunch every day or take 2 hours off for lunch. You know, they close earlier.
Or what you see with the new companies like Facebook and Google and stuff like that, it should just be like, if you could get your work done like in a work week, then you're good. I
like this idea of like, and I'm just making this up as I go along here, but I don't know why we don't have an economy where you still have, like don't get me wrong, I love the fact that, you know, you or I can go to the store, because of where we live, we can go to a store that's 24 hours. Yeah. And we can go get something. Because you and I need that, because we probably sleep, you know, we go to sleep later than other people, yada, yada. So I like that. But why wouldn't we have like almost like shifts? Like you have a shift 1 for a week and shift 2 for a week and whatever. Shift 1 is 3.5 days. Shift 2 is 3.5 days, or, you know, 4 days and 3 days. 4 days and 3 days, something like that. Yeah. Where it's like, okay, I'm shift 1, I'm shift 2. Where like the full work week, there's, you know, the full work week is like 3.5 days or 4 days. Yeah. And
well, people wouldn't get paid as much, you know, and then they
but that's the thing is you gotta see what I'm talking about, like a long-term kind of retooling, restructuring of the entire economy that would be tied in with this. But yeah, you're right. As of right now, they wouldn't get paid enough because the system, I think, is fucking rigged against regular people. Yeah. But yeah, if we could, I don't know. I feel like the sun is setting on how we do it now. The way we do it now is, okay, we're in this capitalist system. You wake up, you go to work, you shut the fuck up, you know, like that. You just go through the motions. You work 5 out of 7 days a week if you're lucky. Some people 6, 7, some people 7 out of 7, and then you die. Yeah. And it's like, okay, you can work life in between you being a fucking busy, you know, worker bee for us.
Or work till you're 7 years old, and then you can enjoy like trying to climb Mount Everest when you can't fucking walk anymore.
Exactly. Maybe if you can retire. A lot of people don't have the funds to retire.
Yeah.
So it's got to be this thing where we retool the way it's done. And again, we should put an onus on healthcare. We should put an onus on education. We should fund those things. We should make the minimum wage a living wage. We should encourage unionization, because if you have strong unions, you have a stronger middle class, and they can get people more time off. But even with like the artificial intelligence boom, like we're getting to a point where it's inevitable. Stephen Hawking says, probably the smartest guy alive, like, oh no, yeah, you're gonna have, like, the way we do it now, every industry is gonna be like the fucking Morse code industry, just out of existence, totally gone, and nobody's going to have jobs. It's going to be a painful transition. And then we're going to be in a fucking quagmire. And the quagmire is, do we set up a system that allows everybody to reap the benefits to one degree or another of artificial intelligence and the technology boom? Or do we live in a system where it's this dystopian future where only the owner class and the elites reap the benefits of artificial intelligence, and everybody else gets laid off, and everybody else makes no money, and then there's going to be a fucking revolution, and it's going to be gross.
Well, that's like what we're getting to now,
That's
right?
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's exactly that's the path we're heading down, because so many jobs have been, apart from the jobs that have just been shipped overseas because of NAFTA and all these fucking trade deals, a lot of jobs are being replaced by automation. But there's a tipping point, because if you keep doing automation and all these other jobs, more automation, the fucking unemployment rate goes from 10% to 20% to 30%. At what point do people go, we need to redo this? So what I've spoken about before is you'd have to set up a system where you like have machines, for lack of a better word, assigned to people, where it's like, okay, so instead of you going out and working your job and making X amount of money, your machine that was assigned to you does all the work and does all the productivity, and you get the money for it.
That'd be cool.
And then we would have to find a different way to have meaning in our lives, because a lot of people find meaning in their lives through their work. But you would have to find a way to do whatever to find meaning in your life. But you would have a sustained living because your machine does all the work for you. Your artificial intelligence bot does all the work for you, and you reap the benefits of it. Point is, if we don't go down that path, we're in for a fucking wild ride.
Well, that's happening in media. I mean, you could speak to that, like. You and other podcasts or whatever who are like actually not corporate bought are CNN and all that MSNBC.
Yeah, they're
shit,
dying. It's an industry that's dying.
It's gonna be done. Like, and there's gonna be a point where people are gonna they can't sustain it anymore. They can't pay.
Yeah, no, that's true. I think it's gonna.
And they even asked Jimmy Kimmel that. He was on like Bill Simmons' last show, Any Given Wednesday, and him and Adam Carolla were on, and they asked Kimmel like, even with like late night talk shows, those are just going to go out the window, because it's going to come to a point where like people are going to be able to go online and like specifically find a talk show host who's in like Illinois or who's in Indiana and can relate to his segment of people. So like you won't have to sit through Jimmy Kimmel's whole shit if you don't like the way he does his talking segments. Like, and then
eventually, and that's the evolution of it. And eventually, I think we will be replaced too by something even better. New media, way down the road, will be replaced by something even better.
But it's harder to do that shit with work and school. It's just such a big fucking.
Well, that's
structure.
The problem, is that we have this. But that's why you need smart people with big ideas and a vision for the future to be in positions of power. Because if we don't start addressing these things, I mean, seriously, it can get really fucking bad, man. I mean, we tend to think, okay, everything will work out because, we're here now. But people thought that in fucking 1929 in Germany, before that guy Hitler fucking took over. People thought that in Stalin's Russia or Soviet Union, before he took over. People thought that, before World War I. I mean, history is just a litany of people always fucking shit up. Yeah. And we're at a point.
Trump to fuck it up.
We're at a point now where it's like, it's not just that can happen, but it's also tied to much bigger things that are like, again, the idea of AI, and the technology getting to a point where it's replacing workers.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with all these people? They need to do something, and you need to make sure that we have a high standard of living for people. But you got that. You also got something like climate change, man. Fucking climate change. This is why Bernie Sanders was saying, and he's right, we have to treat it like a World War II level threat, because scientists are saying, every time we look at the numbers and the data, it's worse than the worst case scenario. So what does that mean? I mean, that's the problem, is people have a hard time conceptualizing it in real world terms. Well, what does that mean that climate change is happening? Well, for starters, let's talk about drought and fucking famine. Let's talk about the fact that, you're going to have wars over water in third world countries.
Mm-hmm. I mean, Florida will be non-existent.
Yeah, you're going to have sea level rise that just obliterates, forget New Orleans, forget it. Louisiana's in trouble. So there's huge problems that need to be addressed, but we're just coasting off of the momentum of the system that's been set up, like the post-World War II order.
They're just like, I'm here now, and they'll be like, I'm a little worried about my kids or whatever, but it won't happen until we're all dead.
Well, it's I think people, when you look at opinion polls, people get it. They'll say, oh, okay, an overwhelming majority take action on climate change. But exactly what is needed, the gigantic effort really needed, I don't think they get the scope of it. And
I think a lot of people think, I can't make a difference. So yeah,
that is definitely true. People definitely think that.
I could put a Facebook status up about my guys, we really have to worry about climate change, and maybe 200 people see it, but it'll never make a difference.
Well, that's why you need bold leadership. You need first of all, you need to fucking obviously elect people who think it's real.
Yeah.
But then you need to also have those people have big ideas. The idea of a renewable energy revolution is necessary.
Mm-hmm.
We need to move towards all forms of green technology and renewable technology and all that, those kinds of energy sources.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we don't, we're fucked. We can't permanently burn fossil fuels. We just can't. Well, we'd fucking drive ourselves off a cliff and destroy humanity. Runaway greenhouse gas effect. They say fucking 400 parts per million is the tipping point, and we already passed it. You already passed the tipping point, and now we got a guy in there who doesn't even fucking believe in it? Never mind. It wouldn't have even been good if Hillary got elected. It's not like she would have done a lot to fix it, but, would have not pushed us further down the wrong path, or maybe a little bit less pushed further down the wrong path.
Yeah.
It's a scary time for those reasons, man. I mean, it really is a scary fucking time.
And shout out to, fucking Bernie Sanders, because, the dude didn't even win. He got cheated, and he's still out there, going ham.
No, I was tweeting about that the other day, and it got more retweets than maybe any tweet I've ever done, because I said it was him at Standing Rock, the Dakota Access Pipeline.
Yeah. Oh, he went?
He went, and he was giving a speech and talking about, we got to stand with our Native American brothers and sisters, and this is an important fight, and we need to do this for the climate, and we need to do this for water rights, and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And then I was saying then, weird. There's only one of the two Democratic candidates is fucking still out there pushing this shit. It's almost he actually cares about the fucking issues versus just wanting to get in there because you want self-aggrandizement.
And I don't know if I follow actually Hillary on Twitter, but is she still doing shit, or is she just MIA right now?
She did one speech
at some
cocktail event in Washington, which again is perfect symbol of her. And they made a big deal, people were making a big deal. Oh, she didn't wear a lot of makeup. Okay, it was a no fucks left to give type of thing.
Yeah. But she didn't come out and speak at the Democratic shit when she lost, right?
No, she didn't speak that night, but the next morning she gave a concession speech.
Oh, okay.
But now Jill Stein of the Green Party is trying to do a recount. Because she says, in the key states that Trump won, that led him to win the fucking election, there were, it was too close, and there was maybe some fuckery, so let's try to do it. See, your reaction was my reaction.
Yeah,
it's not going to look, guys, even if you do a recount, which, okay, whatever, so do a recount, it's not going to change it.
No.
It's not going to change it.
No.
He's president. She already conceded, but apparently the news today was that she signed on to her Jill Stein's recount effort. It's
Hillary did?
Hillary was like, yeah, we're
Which is just
that.
go away. Sorry. Yeah, you really like politics, and I appreciate the hard work you put into it, but no one's trying to fuck with you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the wrong.
And I'd also love to talk with Jill and say, what, this is really random that you're the one leading this.
Yeah.
And because the Green Party raised millions of dollars for it.
And shit.
What?
She might be just trying to stay relevant.
It's a weird way to stay relevant. Let me raise millions of dollars and try to. And it's just a weird thing in general, because what's funny is people were blaming Jill Stein for Hillary's loss, which, by the way, made no sense. The numbers wouldn't add up. If every voter who voted for Jill Stein voted for Hillary, Hillary wouldn't have won.
Well, Gary Johnson fucked it up a little bit, right?
No, he didn't either. Because
really?
Gary Johnson, the libertarian, always takes more from the Republican.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because it's more of a right-leaning philosophy. Okay. I don't doubt that he took some votes from her, from Hillary, but even that wouldn't have made the difference. 9% of Democrats voted for Trump. So, like, they never blame those Democrats. Like, oh, why did the Democrats fuck this up? No, because they want to blame third parties.
Yeah.
But it would be weird because, obviously, Jill Stein was massively anti-Hillary for understandable reasons. And then now it's like an about-face, and it's like, well, let's do a recount because we'd prefer her to be president. It's just weird. It's just a bizarre situation. And I don't know what to make of it, to be honest. So I don't know.
I don't know. Bernie gives me a little hope just because it's like I still see
I wish he was fucking 20 years younger.
I know.
Because I fear that if he were to run again, you know, people are just going to go, you're too old, and that's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, and
so,
not get as excited and fired up. They're like, we did that already.
Yeah.
There's got to be a young dude out there. Hint, hint, wink, wink. Kyle Kulinski.
Talk to me when I'm 47.
Yeah. But like, there's got to be some dude out there who's just as passionate as Bernie Sanders, just like a little like better looking and maybe younger.
What's got to happen is the Democratic Party needs to be taken over by the non-sellouts.
Yeah.
Because that's the problem. Is they're too establishment, they're too corporatist, they sold out. There's no inspiration.
Yeah.
I mean, look at what was inspiring about Hillary?
Nothing.
Break down the barriers, stronger together. Those are just vague platitudes and cliches. Nobody fucking buys that. Nobody even knows what that means.
Yeah.
Stronger together. Okay, what does that mean? Give me policies. No, just stronger together. What are you saying? So you need to have like the Bernie Sanders wing of the party rise up and take over.
Yeah, keep it real.
And take no prisoners. Because right now, I don't know if it's just like they're just trying to make it look like they're being kind to that wing of the party. But like, for example, Keith Ellison, who is a real liberal like Bernie, he might be the next head of the DNC, which would be good. Would be great. But then the next minority leader in the Senate is Chuck Schumer, a New York Democrat, who's not very progressive. He voted for a bunch of he's kind of the sellout to Wall Street and stuff, kind of like Hillary Clinton. So I don't know if they're just kind of like doing a head fake, like, oh, we really are liberal now and we learned our lesson, or if it's like window dressing, like, here,
this is what you want to hear.
Yeah, here's what you want to hear. Now we're going to try to run the party, you know. And they said Obama, even behind the scenes, apparently said something about Keith Ellison, like not enthusiastic about like him and that wing of the party taking over. Well, motherfucker, I don't know what you want me to say. You guys got your clocks cleaned.
Yeah.
I mean, the Republicans hold a majority of state legislatures, a majority of governorships, a majority in the House of Representatives, a majority in the Senate, and the presidency. It's unprecedented how much control they have at every level of government. The Democrats are in shambles.
Yeah.
But now you have Obama and Hillary, the people who are kind of like the figureheads of the collapse of it, who are still like, anyway, so let me get in that meeting and tell you guys what direction I think we should go in. Dismissed. Get the fuck out of here. Who are you kidding? You guys were the problem.
Yeah.
I mean, it's empirical. You fucking lost. We took the party in your direction. You lost. So what do you want me to say? That's it. I'm done. I'm done. It's like somebody, I said this on my show the other day. It's like somebody robs your house, and the next morning you wake up and you're like, oh my God, somebody robbed me, and you're trying to, put everything in place and figure out what you got to do.
You're like, hey, this is how the thermostat works. It's like, nah, get the fuck out of here.
Then the person who robbed you knocks on the door, is like, man, we got to figure out what happened here. Like, you were the problem. You were the fucking problem. What are you talking about? It's you. That's what Hillary's doing, and that's what the establishment Democrats are doing. Like, all right, so I know we lost everywhere in every conceivable way, but here's what I think we should do moving forward. Step one is your ass gets out of the room, and the rest of us figure out exactly what to do moving forward. So it's a bad place.
Scary
for it,
times.
Man. I mean, the only upside is that we could try to rebuild from the ground up, but I never.
Once it all goes to shit in 4 years.
I never, like, some people make the argument, well, look, Trump is so bad that he'll unify the left against him. But I don't buy that argument, because the Democrats, the elected Democrats, have always been mostly little bitches. So under Ronald Reagan, the Democrats rolled over and Reagan got whatever he wanted.